Hello, I'm Priscilla Archangel, and my faith-centered leadership lesson for you today is, what defines your leadership? A recent issue of Fortune magazine, the April 9th issue of 2012, had a great article, and the article was entitled The 12 Greatest Entrepreneurs of Our Time and What You Can Learn from Them by John Byrne. And each of the entrepreneurs that they mentioned had a critical success factor that made them special and unique, and that seemed to be one of the primary keys to their success in their business. For Steve Jobs of Apple, that was understanding the relationship between technology and humans. Steve Jobs didn't do any consumer research as he came up with his new ideas, iPad, iPod, iCloud, iEverything, but he instead just paid attention to those interrelationships and used that as his creative source. Jeff Bezos at Amazon takes a mini retreat every quarter. And during that mini retreat, it might just be a weekend, he reflects on things that have happened in the past, he scans the internet for things that seem to be trending in the future, and comes up with ideas that are helpful to his company. Fred Smith of FedEx learned the importance of using first-line leaders in the right spot at the right time in a way that is critical to the success of his business in terms of all the logistics of FedEx. And he also leverages them to make sure that he gives them plenty of praise. And that's been a great key to his success at FedEx. And that's just a couple of the 12 entrepreneurs mentioned in the article. But what struck me is that some of the characteristics that they all had in common. And I'll tell you about a few of those characteristics now. One was perseverance, a never-quit attitude. Perseverance to always keep experimenting until they found out what worked. And sometimes successes are reached by many failures along the way. George Washington Carver seemed to have many failures along the way, but with each thing he experimented with, he came up with new ideas and new inventions. And that's the same for many of these entrepreneurs. Another factor that they had was focus. They didn't let anyone deter them from what they were working on and what they were working toward. They stayed away from people who had negative energy and focused on people who had positive energy and a can-do attitude to do what they were working on. They also had passion for what they were working towards. A passion that was more than just a love of money. They weren't just doing it just to get money, but they had a passion for what they thought they could do in the future, the connections they could make, the interrelationships they could make, the inventions, and the good that those inventions could do for society, people in general. Another thing they had was what I'll call a wild card. And that was something unique that only they could pull off. Something that was specific to their character, to their characteristics, to the products or services that they provided to others. And that wild card was something special that they were able to parlay into successful business. So my question is, what is your defining leadership characteristic? What do you have that no one else seems to quite possess in the same way that you possess it? What do you do, or what are you able to do that others can't quite do the way you do it? It's kind of like a trust your gut approach. I can imagine as Steve Jobs was coming up with the ideas for iPads and iPhones and iMacs, that it seemed to be contrary to what others were doing and the direction others were going into. But he trusted his gut. He didn't even trust consumer research. And we know the success that that has been. So how can you trust your gut? How can you get to know yourself better, to know what your own unique characteristics are that you can bring to the world, that you can bring to others around you, that others can benefit from? So think about it. Your unique defining characteristic of leadership. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.